Hello, everybody, and welcome to Aurorum Kingmaker, the prequel part, the part that has to deal with, everything pertaining to getting to know our background characters. I mean, I love doing these prequel sessions because it gives us an opportunity to really get to know our characters, get to know our PCs and whatnot, and allow you to kind of get to know yourself before I have to introduce you guys to each other and know how you're going to role play around each other.
Yeah, I've seen these and liked the idea of the session zero, so you get to know a bit of your character without the context of the other characters yet, knowing your character.
Exactly. So you kind of like learn yourself before other people kind of like affect who you are as a person. But this is actually a particularly special one for me because I've watched Tesh over on Ollie's channel, and I absolutely love the way that Tesh role plays over there. He's kind of like how Neil steals the show on the Wednesday show. Tesh is, at least for me, is really still in the show on the Sunday one, and I just absolutely love it. Sorry, Dean. I just absolutely love how you play over there. That character and everything is so great. So hopefully we get the same kind of quality here.
Hopefully. We will see.
Yeah, we will see is right. All right, awesome. So we don't want to waste too much time on me being excited to hang out with Tesh finally. Truth be told, we've actually hung out prior to going live right now. We've kind of gotten to know each other. Yeah. All right, so let's kind of jump into the world, kind of jump into your character and see where it is that Val'ren has experienced, what he's like, and so on and so forth. So a little bit of background about, because Aurorum is such a big world, it's a new world, nobody really knows much about it. Well, your character is really unique in this world because you happen to be a Peren. In most other worlds, you would call them half-elves. But in this world, they're known as Peren, and specifically you're from Perendel, which is the nation of them. Perendel is a very unique nation compared to most of the other ones around it because they are a very industrious nation. They're always at war. They're always trying to push their boundaries with all of those around them. So that makes for a very unique kind of a peoples and a unique kind of a country to live in. But more importantly, you yourself happen to come from the capital of Perendel. Now we're not going to get too much into your backstory here or anything like that, but your character has never left Perendel before until very recently, and you've had an overall rather simple life. I mean, despite the fact that I've just described them as being a very warlike culture, you've actually never really experienced that part of your history and whatnot. So it makes for a unique character that's kind of like leaving the area and going to where he is, going to Idir for the first time.
Oh yes.
Now, what has pulled you to Idir? Again, we'll get to that a little bit later on, but for now, what's important to know is what it's like when you first get there. So, one of the important things to know when you first get to Idir is that this is a place where a couple of things strike you as very unique and very different when you first get here. The first thing that really jumps out at you, like the first really striking thing when you came to this country for the first time, is both how incredibly quiet and still the place is, and how incredibly loud and bustling it is at the same time. As I said, you come from an industrious nation, so the people there, whether it be like, the workers on the streets, whether it be like, the traders, the marketplaces, all that stuff, the random drunk guy that's wandering down the street without the shoes on his feet or the shirt on his back because he lost at betting the night beforehand, whatever it might be. There's always stuff that's happening there. There's tall buildings and people yelling from one window to the next. Always happens. Here, when you first stepped into Idir, it's not like that at all. There you had your major city with your suburbs around it. Here, you walk into nature. You see the stillness of just like a mountainside, the stillness of just like an open forest and so on and so forth, and how quiet it is. But on the flip side of that, the buzzing of the bees, the chirping of the birds, the bustling of the bushes, which, holy shit, what's behind me? You know what I mean? Like, it's all sorts of stuff that exists here that you have never experienced, and different fears have struck your heart, and you've had to work yourself through just to feel even comfortable traveling through this realm. It's certainly gotten you kind of like, I have to get used to it. The other thing that really strikes you about this place is, well, the sheer beauty of it. As I described, all those differences, I mean, you never really got to see a rolling field that goes on as far as the eye can see. Sure, they existed. Like, let's not be ridiculous here. They exist, but you live near the capital. Nothing like that happens here. I mean, if there was fertile lands, there's got to be at least one farmhouse there. Not here. No. It could just go as far as your eyes can see. The way that the sun just seems to set in the sky, the way it sets it on fire, just everything about the air here and how fresh it is. There's a certain like freeness that exists in this land that kind of strikes you and pulls at you. Anyways, you've spent some time in this country, a few weeks, for a little while now, and you've traveled through it for a bit, and have gone through a couple of towns and villages, and even a city of sorts. And there's another thing that kind of struck you as odd. Most of the time, people just kind of ignore you. You know, you're just a dude passing through. There's tons of people they've never seen before pass through. But then there are points in time where people just stare at you. Full on stare at you. Now, obviously, your character is kind of an inquisitive sort. And so you would go about and inquire as to, what's up, dude? And you would get a little bit of a kind of explanation as to why it is. You see, most people can't really tell the difference between Peren and humans. To an unkeen observer or just a lazy observer, you might not even tell the difference between the two of them. They look so similar in so many ways. Sure, they're a little bit thinner or angular and whatnot, but there are certainly even more thin and angular humans than there are of the average Peren, right? So they don't stand out in anybody's mind. But for those that do recognize it, you stand out to them and they kind of stare at you because, well, strangely, there aren't many Peren that come through this country. For one reason or another, most of the people that are just like staring at you, you're maybe the first or second Peren that they've ever seen. And this is extremely unusual considering the fact that this country, is entirely engulfed by your country, by Perendel, the half-elf nation, right? Every border touches Perendel. So that just struck you as odd, but you come to realize that for one reason or another, Peren don't exist here. Which is funny because you yourself feel comfortable here. Not necessarily at home, but struck by its beauty, right? So you come to realize that, and you never quite get used to it. You never quite get comfortable with the feeling of people just kind of gawking at you. But you just, I mean, you're an Australian. You've traveled abroad.
Yes, I have.
You're familiar with the how it is.
I spoke. I speak out anyway, so up to heads.
That's different. Why is that different? So anyways, you've traveled through the lands for some time and eventually found yourself into a city of sorts by the name of Forvin. Now, Forvin itself happens to find itself nestled on the northwestern border of a lake. The word lake is technically true because it is that. It's a body of water completely engulfed by lands. But to your character, it might as well be a vast sea or an ocean. You see, while your country certainly isn't landlocked, the area that you grew up in you've never seen a lake of this size where you come from.
It's just a river, and that's literally it.
Yeah, rivers, exactly. Rivers, ponds, small little locks, whatever it is. But a lake like this, where you can't see the other side. You see, from the widest points of this lake are about 160 miles apart. That is a ridiculous... my apologies. It's about 16 miles apart. That is a ridiculous distance. Maybe a little bit greater than that. And even the thinner point is still about 12 miles apart. It is a very, very large lake. So it was a striking sight for you to come. And when you first came to Forvin, led by the reasons that we're going to get to in a moment, when you first came to Forvin, you spent a considerable amount of time just this morning heading to the docks and watching just the boats floating out into the lake and all the fishermen catching their food for the people here and so on and so forth. But let's be serious. Eventually the strikingness of it wears off and you have things to do. You made your way about Forvin a little while, but inevitably found yourself inside of a tavern where you sat there and ordered whatever beverage it was that you had and opened up your book to do your studies. And, your book's open in front of you. It's there. You look at it from time to time. But for the most part, you can't concentrate. You have a bit of an anxiety going on in front of you. You've got things racing in your mind. And so the only way you can busy yourself in a way to actually truly relax is to kind of observe those around you, much as they probably would observe you. But luckily, they haven't noticed that you're different. At least, haven't cared yet. You sit there waiting for some strike of inspiration or some realization to lead you from where it was that you had come to your next step. But unfortunately, nothing comes to mind. You end up kind of wasting hours away watching the people as they come and go, and inevitably the night just kind of falls too late, and your exhaustion sets in. And let's be serious, you've been on the road for so long. It's been a long time since you've rested your head on a soft pillow, or at least what they use, what their sorry excuse for a soft pillow they have here.
It's a rock. It's a little bit like a pillow.
So you inevitably find yourself to your bed, which was an endeavor unto itself. Trying to find an establishment where you can get a proper night's rest was an experience. You see, in this land, they have the strange culture where the establishment where you might find yourself a beverage, you'd probably call it a tavern or even a pub. Oftentimes, if not always, is the same establishment where you might find a place to rest your head, an inn. Unfortunately, where you come from, that is unheard of. People that establishments where you get your drink and establishment where you get your bed are separate, and the few areas inside cities that have those, well, let's just say they're marked with little markings that the guards know that they're there, but for the most part choose to turn a blind eye to it because of the let's just say the peoples of the night that tend to run those establishments. So, having flubbed your way through that strange conversation to find a bed where you didn't think you were going to have any late-night visitors, you finally find your way to your room, flop yourself on your stone pillow, and try to sleep. It's not easy at first because your mind is still racing, but eventually you do find a bit of rest. As you drift off to sleep, the first bits of sleep are relaxing, same as you imagine all sleep is, right? You just kind of drift off this blackness and fades into its dreams or whatever. But then, at some point in time in your typical dreams, it happens again, where the world around you just seems to shift, where you realize there's a certain keenness, but yet a certain blurriness to the world as it exists. One point in time, you just kind of like turn to look, and you see that you're in a different area. As a matter of fact, you're in an open field. So the field around you is completely open. The sky is open, and you're taking it in. The smell's unique. The way that the grass grows, the type of flowers that grow there, they're yellow. Almost look like, well, not dandelions. Daffodils? You're not sure. Maybe if you had seen it or something like that, maybe you'd be able to place it. But you know that the sweet smell that they have, it kind of like rings in your mind, even if it's a bit too blurred for you to hold on to. At one point in time, when you're taking in the sights to one of your sides, you look back and suddenly there's a man standing before you. Now, I say a man because it's pretty obvious to you that they're a man, but their features are a bit blurred. You can't make that out. You can't make out their face. However, there's a broadness of their shoulders, the squared off way that they stand, and their clothes do stand out to you. Their clothes are something unique. They're ragged, torn, ripped, a bit padded. Maybe perhaps somebody that's seen combat before, or at least wear the garments of one who has, but definitely gives you a certain impression of the kind of person that would wear clothes this dirty and this ratty. And so, almost a trained instinct of yours, you quickly look to the person's wrists. And what you find is there are some markings that don't surprise you in the least. Whether they be burns or chapping or whatever it is, the red marks and blisters and long since injured and healed lead you to believe what kind of person this truly is. But then your eyes don't rest on the wrist. Something pulls your eyes to it. Looking into one of their hands, you sit there holding a blade. It's a very unique blade. You see, the design of the blade is something like you've never seen before. Just the curves of it, the way that it's shaped, the thickness of the blade, every detail about it is something that just strikes as odd or unique to you. Now, again, to be clear, you happen to be a Peren. Your culture is one that has waged war for centuries. And so even though you yourself are not very accustomed to the front lines necessarily of war, everybody knows of blades and a bit of history about them and so on and so forth. It's just a part of your upbringing and your childhood, right? But this just strikes you as odd completely in every facet and shape. But even more odd about it is the color of the blade, or lack thereof. See, the blade is very dark, darker than midnight, darker than anything else you've ever seen before, darker than obsidian. As a matter of fact, it's so dark, it almost seems to be pulling in the light around it, like it's actually warping the color and light around it. But at the same time, despite the fact that you would imagine this causes like blurred effect, it still leaves the lines around it so sharp that you can make out those fine details as I've already described to you. As you're taking in the image of this person, all of a sudden you start to hear a rattling noise. Rattling of, it sounds like chains. Now, not the sound of, like, say, chains swinging in the breeze or being slung in the air or anything like that. It's actually the sound of, you look up and you see the chains are literally falling from the sky around you, seeming to have recently been broken. As a matter of fact, these chains, these links that are falling, are not small. These are fairly large links. They're almost massive in size, and they're falling down towards you. Occasional more breaks happening along the chains as they're falling to the ground, littering about you. And this is when you notice that one link of the chains is actually falling directly for you. Almost as instinct, you quickly reach into yourself and pull forward those magics that you've learned to master, and you throw together this quick shield and you throw it above your head to try to stop the chain. However, just the sheer weight and force of the chain itself, as it connects with that shield, both the chain shatters and the shield before you, and it comes throwing you hurtling down in your dream and out of your dream onto the floor of your bed beneath you. Loud. You whack your back, you whack your head and everything, and it starts you awake.
Okay then. And then get up. Paper, book. Find something, start trying to scribble down there.
Hey! Quiet in there!
I didn't realize I was being loud. Sorry.
It's a knock between your wall and the room next to you. You were, alright? Quiet down!
Okay.
And you kind of go about whatever it was that you were doing as whoever that was seems to subside what they were doing. Oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted. What were you doing?
I would be trying to recreate the blade as much as I can on a piece of paper, just so I can either show it to people or try and get more information about it.
Oh, so like sketch it out. You're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. So you quickly go to your parchments, and you have many, of course. Quickly go to your parchments, and you grab up a bit of chalk, and you start trying to sketch this out and do the best you can with your drawing. Now, to make this check, I mean,
Venta black.
What was that?
So it's a new color, Venta black.
Okay. Yay. My apologies. So you that's technically a craft check, or unless you have like profession cartographer, it's technically like a craft check. So I don't think you have a skill in that. So just click craft, and that should be a flat intelligence roll for you. And oh, that is
At least it's not a one.
At least it's not a one. That's right. Oh, well, all I have to say is that you're doing better than some, certainly worse than others at other points in time. So, oh god, that's funnier than most will realize. So, oh, sorry, inside joke.
I was unlucky.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh god, that's so funny. Sorry guys, there's an inside joke there. What was that, Tesh?
I'm guessing I can't get it.
No, so this is what happens. More or less, you grab at your parchments, you grab at the chalk, and you start trying to recreate this image to the best of your ability. And you do so again and again and again. And you're trying, but it's just wrong, and it's too smudged, but the shape is all wrong, and you just try over and over again. And honestly, you end up blowing through a good half of your parchments that you brought with you. Not with one picture per parchment, you're not wasteful like that, but multiple and on different sides, covering them. But nothing that you do is even close to resembling what it was.
I look at it. Think about what I saw. Nope. Next.
And you unfortunately are not able to properly draw an image of it.
Okay, in that case, what I would do is I'd write down just little details about what I saw. Field with yellow flowers. Slave, I assume. Sword that was black and different. Um, chains breaking, maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe that's important. Just writing down anything I can. I don't think I'm going to forget it, but I'm going to go back to sleep because I need sleep. But I don't. I just want to have something written down. Like the drawing didn't work. I just want to have something.
Yeah, of course, of course, of course. So you do, of course, transcribe all that information. There's no, like the what you experience is burned into your minds. It's not like you're going to forget those details. At least not at
Yeah.
this moment. Not where it's so prevalent and you're holding it there and you're trying to draw it. So you do write down those details, nice and it scribbles at first, but then maybe tomorrow morning, whatever it is, you'll transcribe them a bit
It's
neater.
one of those things where you're just like, what did I write?
Yeah.
Oh right.
But tomorrow you'll write it down a bit neater and whatnot, and so you are successful at least there. So you
I imagine he would try to go back to sleep. I imagine it would be hard for him to get back to sleep at first because he'd be too busy. Like his mind would immediately go, I have new information. I need to do something with this. Meanwhile, part of his brain is just like, no, you need to sleep.
so
They're fighting.
Yeah, of course. And so you do just that, and you're trying to go to sleep. This time you have a slightly different dream than you did before. It's
okay.
actually ever so slight, because this time what you do is you find yourself in that similar field, but what you find around you is a litter of corpses. There's three of them. Sorry. Yeah. There are three corpses, all in a small region. The details of these corpses are very vague, but you can kind of like feel that these corpses. So you can kind of like feel that these corpses are somehow connected, something to it. Almost like your message wasn't done; it was broken by the chains falling before, by your hitting of the thing. Almost like something was trying to interrupt the message that you were getting, and awoken you from it. But here it is trying to get itself to you. You see these bodies lying about on the ground, and you feel a gust of winds. The wind is blowing in a particular direction, but which direction that is, you don't know, because unfortunately, you don't know which way north is in this realm of the stream where you are right now. But you can feel it blowing very poignantly in one path, almost pulling your cloak that way.
Okay. Can I see any landmarks whatsoever, or is it just field? Can I see the sun?
Unfortunately, you can see the light in the sky. The sky is lit up as though there's a sun, but there's no
But you
sun
can't
there.
see.
Yeah, exactly. There's not necessarily a sun that's there. At least none that you can recall when you would come to being in the sky. And unfortunately, landmarks. You remember there being potentially a hill or something in the dream, but many details
Yeah.
get lost to you, of course.
Okay.
I imagine you transcribe the rest of these as well.
Oh, very much so.
The morning you feel a lot better rested and whatnot.
Yeah. So he would wake up, immediately start packing up his things, reread his notes and realize how terrible they are and write them out properly. And then he would probably grab very little to eat, but something, because he knows he needs food. And then he would head outside, and the first thing he would do is look to see if there's any sort of wind, any sort of current, obvious wind, or if it's just stagnant air, that sort of thing.
It's kind of a survival check. Anything pertaining to, say, weather or nature or stuff like that.
Okay, where is that? Survival, found it.
Rolls a 1.
It's bad. Okay.
So at first, please.
Oh, sorry. I was going with describing how that goes.
At first, you actually truly believe that the wind is blowing with a fairly poignant gust and seems to be pulling you in a direction. And perhaps you contemplate that for a little while, or perhaps you even immediately start traveling in that direction. But very shortly thereafter, maybe after a minute or so of whether, again, contemplating or following, it finally changes course and then starts to die down.
Oh.
And you feel a bit foolish to yourself.
Yep. It was worth a shot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, new plan. Okay, I'm gonna go and see if I can't find anyone. Is there a weapon shop or something here?
So, towns like this, in this land are a bit different than towns like your own lands. You see, they are the way that they live here, and I'm going to get to your answer in a second, just to kind of set the framework for you. So the way that they live here, the culture that they have, is so stark and different from your culture. You see, Parendel is a land of rule, right? So there are the rulers that rule the country, and underneath them there is a different group of rulers, and underneath them there's a different group of rulers, and so on down until you have a group of people, many people, millions of people that follow these rules, these laws, because they make for a comfortable way of life that everybody agrees upon is perhaps a good and prosperous way to live, right? And those rules are common courtesy are included in that, as well as the way that you handle transactions, so on and so forth. One of the other things about Idir, since you've come to like the towns, that strikes you as odd, is there seems to be almost no rule. Like while the freedom of this place has its charm to it, there's some bits of it that are a little less so. For instance, if you needed to relieve yourself, you would visit in a location that had a latrine or a john, as one might call it. We can call it a Tesh if you'd like in this world. No?
Please no.
No.
Please no.
Or a latrine, right? And so it was where you would go and you would relieve yourself. Here, it's perfectly normal for somebody walking down the road in the middle of a conversation to turn off that road by 3 or 4 steps, whip it out, and start pissing on a tree while a mother walks by with her daughter, thinking nothing of it. It's just perfectly normal.
How barbaric.
It does come off as just that way. You've literally watched transactions happen where people can literally come up to somebody and be like, "Oh, I want an apple. That's 2 cop," and then they hand it over and they buy it. And somebody walks over and like, "I want that apple." They're like, "How about I come around and paint your house?" And like in bartering and so on, like bartering is not unusual, but just like the degree at which people do things, and it just seems so unusual. But even more so, if somebody was to be an upstart, somebody goes to a shop and was to request the commissioning of a sword or the purchasing of a sword, and it was a price that they didn't like, and they were getting to the other person's face and threaten them, well, where you come from, God, handle this man.
They're getting arrested.
Oh yeah. Here, there's no guard. Now, there is a sense of community in the sense that hopefully there's somebody nearby that's going to step in, intervene, say words, or in some way or the other, a sense of a community.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's nothing to back that up. That's just hoping that there's a good person nearby.
Yep.
So my apologies. Yes, there is in fact a smith that lives in this that has a shop in this region. However, truth be told, when you swing by the shop to go investigate, it doesn't look as though weapons are their forte or armor even. It looks as though this is a blacksmith that can work on and even fashion together some weapons for you and the like. But they're probably better off horseshoes and pythons and various other tools of farming and the like.
Probably not going to be that much help, but you never know. I might as well ask. It's worth a shot.
Sure. You walk up to the smith.
Hello, sir. Do you have a moment? I just want to I have a bit of a question for you.
He looks up at the sun, which it's not low, but still early in the day, and then looks down at you and says, "I could spare a few minutes. What are you looking to buy?"
I'm actually looking for something in particular. Have you ever
You didn't
heard
have the
of...
look of somebody that was looking to buy.
He's gonna pull out. He's actually gonna pull 5 silver out, just for your time.
He nods. He nods appreciatively. Do you hand it to him, place it on a table nearby, or do you hold it until you're done with the conversation?
I'll place it down on like a table in between us.
Sure. So you place it on the table between us. He nods, and like you can clearly tell he's waiting for you to continue.
Have you ever heard of a blade that was made out of something that was almost black, like darker than dark steel, something like that? Have you ever heard of any blades that have ever been made by that? Has someone come through here with it? That sort of thing.
Hi. Darker than steel. Yeah, I've seen it come through even myself. Uh,
Okay.
didn't have the luck of handling such a thing. They wouldn't let someone like me touch it. But a group came by here, about 7 years or so. Saw the blade. It was very unique looking. Very dark steel, almost like a deep gray. Almost no luster to it.
Okay.
I asked him about the steel, and he confirmed my suspicions. It was in fact adamantine. Never seen it before. Never seen it since. It's the darkest steel I've ever seen. Ain't much of a reflection on it.
Okay. Do you know who this group was, where they're from, that sort of thing?
Oh yes, they were a group of adventurers. Where'd they say they were from? Fuck if I know. Galdaria, likely. Anyways, they were traveling through. Um, I want to say it was a. It's been so long. It was a. I want to say it was a longsword. Yeah, if I had to guess,
Okay.
perhaps the blade. He never drew it from the sheath entirely, so I didn't get to see its full length. And the sheath itself was a strange craft, poorly crafted for a blade so nice. But longsword, maybe a bit shorter.
Would that match the sort of length of the blade in the dream?
No, it's certainly a longsword tends to be a straight blade, straight edge weapon. This is
And
not.
the way he's talking about how it's gray, I'm guessing that's not
No,
gonna.
you've never seen adamantine, but you know adamantine has like a lower luster, almost like a tungsten would look if you know what tungsten looks like in real life.
Okay, well, thank you for your time. I'll slide the coins over fully.
He nods and he reaches over into like a cabinet where he has a couple of things sitting there, and he pulls out a dart. It's actually a war dart, but in typical PHB would be a dart. Here you are.
Oh, thank you.
He nods and yeah, it's 5 silver weapon.
Fair
So
enough.
and he hands it to you and says, "Have yourself a good day."
You too. And then walk out, realizing that unfortunately he just wasted his time.
Yep.
That was worth a shot. So now he needs to find out more information about maybe chains breaking, someone dying. There's no guards or anything like that. Is there any sort of mercenary force?
So area like this,
A
there's no
bounty board, maybe.
Oh, so there are in fact bounty boards and stuff like that that do exist. So
Good.
people
Okay.
that need shit done. You know what I mean? So when you
Yeah.
go over the bounty board, you can see that this thing is, while the board itself is maintained well enough, there's not much ever that seems to be posted there. The stuff that's posted there is old rotted papers, clearly weathered, and either jobs that were never done or were solved long ago. You know what I mean? Nothing recently posted.
Okay. So nothing about
The
like
bounty
three
board, by the
people.
way, itself, my apologies, happens to be, you didn't know this when you were there before, but happens to be on the outside of the tavern where you had spent the night.
Oh, convenient. Um, so yeah, there's nothing about like three murders or anything like that.
Unfortunately, no, there is not.
Okay. Then I'm actually going to go into the tavern and go up to the person at the bar who's serving,
Mhm.
um, and ask him some questions about that. Just like, excuse me, can I pick your mind about something?
It's a hobgoblin gentleman, and he nods. And as he nods, he starts reaching over for the bottle of what we were drinking the day
Yeah,
beforehand,
I'll buy the drink.
and starts to like pour the glass of it, and comes back over and like does one of those leaning on the bar things and says, "Yeah, what is it?"
I am looking for information on something. Specifically, I've been given clues rather than straight hard facts. Have you heard anything about three murders or three people dying recently? Maybe something to do with slaves revolting.
Uh, no, let me. Um, Just thinking for a moment. No murders. There were a couple of kids that had gone missing, but their bodies eventually turned up. They were kind of wandered too far on the wrong wood. You know what I mean? Got themselves into a jam and well got stuck there. Other than that, slaves. Well, slaves do exist here, but there ain't many slaves you're gonna find around here. It's, I know that you would know a thing or two about slaves.
They'll be like, I react like, oh dear. He would probably just try and not react.
Yeah, when he sees like your reaction, because like you have like, did you say you try not to react or?
He tries not to react.
Bluff
Like,
check.
Dang it. Bluff. Hey, I'm okay at bluff.
Actually, you're really good. So there you
Yeah.
go. Not bad at all, sir. So
Finally.
you show no reaction to that, and so his response would be like he kind of like narrows his eyes for a second, and he says a bit lower, like intentionally not trying to draw attention. He says, "You're Peren, ain't you?"
Gives a little nod.
He nods for a second and says, "So you lose him?"
No, not exactly. Just
Waiting for a shipment then.
something like that. Tell me, have you heard or any rumors about a black sword or a black blade? And I mean dark and black, not gray.
No. Nothing about a black blade. Seems like you're grasping at straws there, friend.
Very much so. Thank you. If you do hear anything, and I'm actually going to slide in my gold coin.
Okay? You slide it over. Well, when you slide over a gold coin, roll me a diplomacy check.
Okay. Main diplomacy. There you are.
Pleasant sort. You're throwing a coin down. All right.
Yeah.
So because obviously that's the part of the whole. And then when you put down coin, it of course gives you a bonus to it. It affects the DC. And so he sees the coin. He picks it up. Looks at it for a second, like turns it over in his hand once or twice as you start to stand up. But before your ass fully leaves the chair, he says, "Well," kind of like pulling your attention back in.
Yeah.
And he grabs the bottle and refills your glass before you. Of course, he expects you to pay for that, but
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know anything about a blade that dark or anything like that. But you were asking about slaves. Now, nobody knows, but everybody knows of the old slave trails. Well, they're goat trails from long ago, but slavers use them now. I wouldn't even begin to know the politics of your land, he says with almost contempt. But there's a region that they try to avoid, and so they'll cut through a corner of Idir in an attempt to avoid it on the way to Meshtez. Meshtez, of course, reminder, we talked about this before, is the more or less the biggest slave city in all of Parendel. It's like where the biggest slave trade takes place, which happens to be just south of Idir. He goes cutting through on their way over there.
Okay. Thank you very much. Before I go, would you happen to know if this area had any vast open fields?
Up until you hit the hills and the mountains, yeah. It's open fields between here and as far west until you hit those hills. Absolutely.
Okay then. Thank you. Nod, pay for the drinks. How much would it be?
The drinks would be just a silver each.
Cool.
So it costs a total of 1 gold, 2 silver.
Yep. I'll do the nod, go and have my drink, finish it like on a table, just thinking to myself. So he was talking about a slave trail that cuts into Idir, and how between there and here, it's fields essentially.
Correct.
Okay. So I am going to have to try and figure out a way I can get over there, which I'm guessing there's no road.
Unfortunately, you don't know where there is at the moment.
I'm going to need to get more information from that then. Are there any... So slavery is a thing here, not as much as...
There are no laws against it, whereas in your country there are laws for it, supporting it, and it's very prolific. But here there are no laws against it.
Okay, so I wouldn't be able to like go and find somewhere that I might be able to pay some people for some information about it.
There very like there are people that know things. You know what I mean? But if you're talking like go to a slave trade office, that's certainly not, yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I might actually go back and ask if there's anyone that would know anything more that I could perhaps pay for their time, their services.
He nods to himself slightly. Well, it's an old trail, herding something. Goats that they use. That's kind of become theirs. I don't know much about that region. I just hear what I hear when I'm handing out beer. So, perhaps somebody that knows the land a little bit better than myself.
Okay. Thank you. I'm actually going to go out and see if I can't find some a trade caravan or maybe someone who does have someone that looks like they've gotten supplies from other places, maybe. So someone that would deal with a trade caravan or something like that. Some people that might know the land.
Yeah, absolutely. So you go to the marketplace area, and because you did start this earlier in the day, it's probably like midday-ish now or whatever, and you do find an area, as you said, where my post said a marketplace, where there's going to be peoples that are kind of like, peddling their goods and whatnot. And so you go and, excuse me. So you go to the marketplace and you can see that there's, people that had spun some cloth or have things like that. You can also find some people who are like, oh, okay, there's some unusual goods out there. This is clearly a bits and baubles merchants, you know what I mean? Like that just sell shit that they find or buy and then resell, claiming it's more valuable. But after searching around for a bit, roll for me would this be a wisdom check? No, this is a gather information check, which is technically a diplomacy.
Diplomacy.
Because GI is not its own skill in Pathfinder anymore, is it? I believe.
I don't think so. I don't see it.
Yeah, it's a part of diplomacy. Cool. So you roll your GI and you go around and more or less kind of like as you're like, do you know what? You eventually come to realize, well, as part of the merchants, there are trappers that are selling the various animals and whatnot that they caught. And trappers, of course, get there.
They know the trail.
Yep, they know everything. They know the best places to get their food. No lobster catchers tell anybody where their stores are.
Okay.
Fucking protect those things with rifles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't. If you ever see the buoys that tell you that this is where the lobster cages are, don't go there.
Don't go for it.
Just don't go. It's not worth it. Pay the $11 at the grocery store. Just don't do it.
Then I will go up to one of them and offer a gold for your time.
So you
obviously, I'm obviously like talking in a way that I'm going to be asking for information of some kind, but I'm doing it in attempting to be slightly more sly, but not very good at it.
1 second. I just want to check something out. So let's see.
He's very much just using the money to speed things up.
Oh, absolutely, of course. So you offer a gold piece.
Yes.
The
idea is I know that they're not going to want to give up their secrets for a risk losing profit. This way, I'm giving them a bit of money to subside that a little.
So you present the gold piece for your time. He goes, I'll give you 50 chickens for that.
Well, an interesting offer. I'm more looking for information.
Takes the coin, like literally plucks it out of your hand, unless you try to like hold it tight or something.
No, no, I'll let him do it.
Plucks it out of your hands, opens up their vest like that they have, tosses it inside there, and then ends up kind of like grabbing a barrel or whatever is nearby, like leaning off over. As they lean over, you can see like, you know, obviously like their shirt rises up. You can see way too much crack and hair than it doesn't make you happy. And grabs the thing, kind of like wheels it over, and like pats on it twice for you to pull up a seat next to him.
I'll do just that.
Okay, he uncorks something that you can smell from a couple feet away.
Oh, no.
Takes a swig of it from a mostly toothless mouth and hands it over for you to enjoy.
I will pretend to drink it. I'll do the whole like cork. Hand it back.
Unfortunately, it does touch your lips, and
oh no,
you'll remember that until your next meal. You'll remember that. Yeah. Nonetheless, he's like, so after he takes the thing back, takes another swig, also puts the cork back in and slaps you in the knee and is like, "What can I help you with?"
I'm looking for a trail out to the west. May have been used for specific things. What I'm being told now is a goat trail, but I'm sure it was not that back in the day. I'm looking for a way to head out towards what I'm sure you know is encroaching on Idir for a little bit at least.
Literally, you finish saying your sentence, and he's thinking for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 seconds. And then all of a sudden, you can see the fireworks go off in his head.
Yeah.
And he almost like, once he realizes what you said, you can see he kind of like slinks down a little bit and like slowly looks to either side. Like he knows what's going on. And he leans in and he's like, "You in the business?"
Sort of. I've been given something to follow up on.
All right. I understand. It's a lucrative business. And he says like,
yeah, the gold, patting the gold that I gave him.
yeah. And so he thinks for a couple moments. He's like, "So you getting a shipment?"
More finding out what happened to one.
Ooh. And then he kind of like takes a moment to like lean back and like take you in, like expecting there be some degree of punishment that would go that person's way. And as he takes you in, you can just see like a perplexed look on his face, like, "What's this nerd gonna do?"
If he does that sort of look, I'll look either way and just give a little bit of runes in the hand, and that like hold up his hand, little runes go around, and then close.
A good old prestidigitation sort of a thing.
Yep.
Okay, so.
Oh yeah, actually, no, I have to actually do it because I might fail, which would be hilarious. Yes, it's a success. I'm good.
So you do like you said, the runes in your hand or whatever, and that's when he like stares at your hands, and even when the runes go away, he continues staring at your hands. You don't think this man has ever seen magic before.
Oh, well, all the more impressive then.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. So he's like, all right, you I'll help you. And you can kind of see like he's like breathing like a bit heavily, like he's really thinking, his mind's racing. Unless you interrupt, he allows several more moments to pass.
I'll let him work through it.
You can see he's almost like building up nerve. And then he says, "I'll bring you there myself. Bring you there myself.
Okay.
Guide.
Perfect.
Guide there. But what I'm making a day here is selling my goods, of course. Quality rabbits and
Yep.
and fowl. I'm making myself a solid 5 gold coin. And I'd of course be giving up 2 days work.
Oh, so
if
you,
not
you
more.
sell about 250 chickens a day then?
I don't sell chickens. No. I can get my hands on chickens. I don't sell them.
Can I insight him? I'm sure he's lying, but I assume
Sense motive.
sense motive. Yep. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Found it. Oh no, I don't have. Yes. I'm glad I didn't find that one up.
He is clearly just trying to squeeze as much money out of you as possible.
I'm just gonna do a little sort of.
Oh, by the way, as part of the sense motive too, you also get the impression he's not feigning. You believe he actually is a simpleton.
Oh, okay. So do I believe he actually can take me there?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
He clearly he knows his, like, you can see there's an array of different animals that he's selling here, and judging by every part of his physique, he's likely he's probably the sole proprietor of the shop.
Yeah.
So usually what trappers do in real life, they spend days, if not weeks, out collecting their goods, depending if they do pelts or meat or whatever it is that they do, and then they come back and sell it, and they,
Well, with that, can I get maybe a bit of idea about how much he's lying? It's like
considerably. On a good day, you've probably already covered the cost.
Yeah, I figured as much. Look, let's not lie to each other here. You know why I'm here, and my reasons for it, and I know that you don't make that much in a day.
He kind of like realizes he's caught in a lie. You can see like fear comes across his face because he thinks you're a slaver. Fear comes across his face, and he's like, all right. I was being entirely honest with you on this one, but it's a bit of a trek from here. I mean, it's going to take us maybe 2 days there, maybe 2 days back if we're coming back this way, and if you're staying on that trail and you need me to stay on that trail with you, that could be even longer, and I gotta make sure that I make my money. You can see that, well, now you're kind of getting the impression that he's not lying anymore.
Yeah.
He's definitely like almost
trying to find ways that it adds up more.
Yeah, he's desperately trying to get money out of you.
Yeah. How about 10 gold for the whole thing, regardless of time?
Literally, and when you say, how about 10 gold, he literally falls off of his chair. He takes the opportunity to try to look like he was reaching for something, but missed, and now he grabs up literally like a little box or something, like something, like, doesn't matter, and he climbs back onto the chair. He's like, sorry, you were saying?
10 gold for the trip, as long as I need you.
Yeah, I can make that. I can fit. Yeah. Now?
5 now, 5 when we're done. And don't cross me.
No. He shows his wrists. He's like, I'm a free man. I'm a free man. And he, like, you see as he's doing that, it's like very overt in the marketplace that he's doing this thing. I'm a free man. See? Free man.
Okay. Hand him the 5 gold.
He's like, can I have a couple hours to put this all away?
Certainly. And I'll just I'll move out of the way, but stay nearby.
He immediately stands up and he's like, everything's gotta go or it's gonna spoil. All right, meat's gonna spoil. I gotta get rid of it. And he starts like yelling that, and all of a sudden you see people like, oh, spoiling meat, that's cheap, and they start like coming over.
Yeah.
And like I'll salt that. I'll boil the hell out of it. I'm fine with it. So they start coming over, and he starts selling this like quality meat for like pittance. So if it would have been like I don't know, 8 copper, he's selling it for 1, sort of a thing. And so he just sells his entire like stockade, so the whole shop is completely empty. Actually, to be fair though, he ends up earning like literally another gold and a half just straight from that.
Yeah. I mean,
he bought
honestly, that would be a pleasing thing, because now, I mean, although he's having to waste money for this and pretend to be a slaver, he's also, people have been able to get food for cheap.
Yep. And I think my dog's trying to come in the room with her poor cone.
Oh no!
Come in, puppy. Come on in. You can come in. It's okay.
Not the cone.
Technically speaking, I could take this one off tomorrow. The big plastic one. I have a small, like bluish, gentler one for her, and that's for 1 more week, and then she should be fine. So
yeah,
it's got to heal the incision. So anyways, so he My brain's not working for a moment. So he agrees, sells everything, and within, like, say, 2 hours' time, you guys are on the road.
Perfect. Okay. Let the travel montage begin.
Well, your character, even when he lived in the capital city of Perendel, even when he lived in literally the capital with probably the densest population of people are, it's not the densest, again, there's a slave market, right? But one of the densest populations are, he was kind of a person that kept to himself, right? Not to say that he's an introvert by any stretch, but, you know, he's not exactly the go out there social butterfly every minute of every day.
Oh, yeah, this could be real awkward.
Yeah, he is I have to fill every silent moment with breath that reeks.
Oh, God.
Conversation got old 10 minutes in.
The smell. I'm gonna do a prestidigitation to make him not smell.
That's funny.
Because that is a thing I can't do, right? Yeah, I can do the smell. I'm pretty sure that's an option.
So, Brody, go lay down. Go on.
Every hour, just prestidigitation. Okay, good.
So you do me a favor. As you are, because I forgot to do this actually earlier when you first interacted with somebody, as you're doing the prestidigitation for your the smell, why don't you describe exactly what your character looks like and how he's utilizing these magics, what those look like. And I won't lie, I gotta go pee, so I'll be right back.
Okay, so Val'ren is a fairly tall Peren, tall by Peren standards, and Peren are a little bit taller than humans as is. He stands at about 6'4", very sort of, he's thin, but not necessarily lanky. He's not, he's weak, he's not strong. He has long black hair, little goatee, green eyes, sharp features. And that's a fairly common thing for the Peren. And he's got a reinforced tunic. Other than that, he wears some nicer clothes and a jacket with as many pockets as you could get on it. And he's got all of his various books and bits and bobs all in those pockets. And when he casts magic, he's still not entirely confident with it, though he won't let it show. He holds up his hand and runes appear in a circle around, and for example, light would emerge from the center of the ring. That prestidigitation maybe, or if he's casting a spell, say Ray of Frost, the circle would appear and then the beam would come out of the middle of the circle, and the runes almost come out of his skin, float up. They're the same green as his eyes. They float up and merge with the circle into the ring and cast the spell. It's Brody. Perfect timing. Oh, wait, there we go. Perfect timing.
Hi. All right, good.
I think the only detail I said there that I don't think I've told you previously is when the runes sort of come out of his skin, they're the same green as his eyes.
Oh, that's cool. Is that for no matter what kind of spell it uses? That you use?
I mean, the runes themselves start green and then go whatever color needs to be for the spell, like blue for an ice spell, stuff like that. But when they come out of his skin, they're green.
Gotcha. And then they'll change based off of that, which is probably a tell for the sake of spellcrafts and whatnot in the future from your opponents. Okay, cool. Awesome. Love it. So you guys travel for a ways, following along with him. One of the things that you notice, God, it's annoying traveling with this guy, but we'll save. No, I'm just kidding. He actually clearly knows the place because he walks with purpose and clearly knows his path. He never once checks the sky, never once looks to the moss on the side of a rock. He knows this area so well, he doesn't have to check where he is. He spent his entire life trapping here. You've heard the fucking story over and over again.
Yeah. Yep.
So he easily leads you that way. Now again, it is not a short distance between one region and the next. Actually, from where you're going to where it is that he is, that is about 3 full hexes on our little map, which is 48 miles. 48 miles takes a full 2 days of walking, constant walking at a good pace to get there. I mean, that's luckily for you, even though there's no roads, there's no paths, it's an open field.
Field, yeah, it's not uphill or through dense, like, yeah. It's. I also imagine it gets to the point where he almost doesn't even hear the guy. He's sort of like he's talking such as constant that it's just white noise, and he just thinks about other things.
Oh yeah, and I imagine that's how my wife gets through our relationship. So we, after 2 full days of this yammering, you eventually start to see off into the distance. And this is again, it's all up to whether or not you want to approach things in the evening or in the morning. Eventually, you start to see, not over the distance, sorry, around you, that the grass changes slightly. It goes a little bit less from being that the kind of like lowish grass that was over near the sorry, my apologies, the very high grass that you would see over near like the watery area where it's like very wet, to being lower grass again. It's actually changing to being almost more like a leafy grass, where you realize there's actually a type of flower and whatnot that's growing in the area. But 2 hours later, you start to see that the area around you is littered with many flowers. It almost makes the ground, like if you're looking across a whole field, seems to be
Yellow
like this,
flowers?
like yellow flowers. Seems to be this like green backdrop with this like white and yellow kind of sea across it. And you realize that this man was not messing with you. This, if you didn't have faith before, you do now. That he seems to be leading you in the right direction.
Okay.
As the traveling goes on even further, feeling a bit invigorated from what it is that you had discovered,
Yes.
you eventually see, this is the tail end of that second day, where you're like, I could push on and get there, or I can spend the night and arrive the next morning. You start to see that there are hills, off into the distance. Again, it'd be a bit of a push, but you could try to get there.
Oh, I think I probably would push. I think he would want to push on and sort of start to do like when he starts, like when the man starts setting up camp. I would say, oh no, just a little bit further, and then sort of pause. It's not safe. No, we'll do it in the morning.
Okay, so you don't want to like try to push yourself those extra couple hours. Awesome.
Yeah, he's more worried about not being alert enough for knowing what this area is. He's more worried about being not alert and on the ball than he is about his restlessness and wanting to go do it.
Yep. He's kind of like taking a moment of every step of this way. You've come to scenarios where you've been like, let's keep going. And you and I discussed this actually beforehand. So you like, I found the next spot. Let's step forward. And every time you've done so, it's kind of not really worked out for you. And so for the first time, finally learning from your mistakes of before is, let's just relax for a minute.
Okay. So try and call a night for tonight.
And so he can see, because you're almost like he actually makes a comment that, and he goes, you keep a push. You don't slow down. You don't meander. You're almost like a cracking a whip in my back. Says trying to make a joke.
I will give him that little chuckle. Well, I have something driving me.
He's like, yep, me too.
He probably thinks
and he
it's
pats
money,
the
but
same
it's
pocket
that.
where you hear the jingling.
Yeah, he thinks it's money. It ain't that, but fair enough.
Yep. And so you guys do spend the night. As far as you can tell, the night is going to go without any hindrance. So
No, I was just like, no rolls. Make sure so that we don't get ambushed in the night.
So as far as you can tell, the night goes without hindrance. And then you guys start moving in the morning and making your way. This time as he moves, at first he's moving normal pace as he was beforehand. So only about 2-hour trek to get to the rest of the hill. But then he starts to like slow down a little bit after that first hour. You're like so close to the hill. And he's clearly slowing down a bit. He also gets a bit quieter. Still talking, but with longer breaks and like looking about.
I'm guessing there's a reason for the change of pace.
Huh?
You're moving slower than you were before.
Oh.
Are you worried?
Yeah. Damn cats.
Oh,
Grass cats.
I'm assuming these are something we need to look out for.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
I will have a look around. Just I will now keep an eye out as we push on for movements in the grass, that sort of thing. I have no idea about how big they are, but I'm looking for any movement.
So you sorry, just trying to find. There you are. Yeah, so it's the other one. So you're trying to look for the movement in the grass. It's actually going to be for me a perception check.
Okay, this is where the fun begins. Well, it's 2 ones.
There you go. It's +2 half elf. It should say +2 Peren. No, I'm just kidding. So
Yeah. Oops.
So, I'm just
That's
kidding.
from the actual Pathfinder stuff.
Yeah, I'm just teasing you, of course. So you actually do see movement in the grass. Looking about, you can see that the grass did move in a way that the wind was not. And looking over in the area, you can see even the grass is ever so slightly displaced from how it should be.
Is it moving towards us?
It's now still. It moved before. You kind of just barely caught a glimpse of it, and now it's perfectly still.
I'm going to tap the man and just do that. I'm going to point in the direction.
He looks that
And
way.
then usher forwards.
You point to the direction. He looks over that way, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I say we
There was
just burn.
something-
I say we just burn down the grass."
That might cause a lot more problems than it would solve.
Yeah, probably right.
If it is something, we know it's there now. It has much harder time surprising us. Let's keep moving. But keep your eyes open.
All right then. And he starts moving forward again, but again at that slow pace, where he's kind of like looking
Yep.
about left and right. I imagine you doing the same. You can roll me another perception check.
Oh, yes. Hey! Slightly better.
You travel for a bit longer, and don't find the don't see it again at all. You don't get that, but you still have that kind of like unearing feeling that it might be about.
Yeah, it's that spider that just appears. And you're just like,
While you're driving.
yeah, exactly, yeah. It's like, oh,
I swear I wanted my visor!
Yeah, at any moment.
Did it just fucking go into my sunroof? Oh, it's the worst.
It is, very much so.
85 on the highway, you know, like, ah! My 85 and yours are different.
Yes, very, very much so.
Because I think my 85 is like your 135 or some shit like that.
It's actually funny. Like Huntsman's one of our biggest spiders. The only reason it's remotely deadly is because of when it drops on people's laps when they're driving.
Ah,
Because it's huge.
yeah. It's like, you should have checked the car before you got in. They're big enough to notice.
Yeah.
Just vacuum the car every time. That's what you should start installing those, like,
They really like the visor.
Yeah.
They like being in that. So when you pull that down,
yep, boop, yep. So you know how like there's in-wall vacuums for houses? You should install those in your cars in Australia. So if you see the spider, you just suck it up. Put a couple blades on the inside, chop it up as it goes. I'm mean. I don't care. Fuck you,
that
spiders.
is real mean.
Fuck you, spiders.
Oh. No, don't tell me it cut. Oh, we good? There was
Yep.
a bit of a freeze.
Oh, yeah, we're good. I was like, what? Huh? No, we're good. So my apologies. So you get that feeling that it's still there, but you don't see it any longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm actually going to just sort of not cast anything, but he's going to start like moving his hands and sort of like, you know how you would move your hands to sort of free them up?
Yep.
We start doing that, getting ready. Just he has a feeling he might need to use his magic.
Not a problem. And you're able to do, for me, as you guys continue traveling on a bit more, one last perception check.
Oh, there it is.
That just means that you are caught completely unawares as the all of a sudden that you don't even see the grass moving, you don't see anything. All of a sudden, out of literally nowhere, a huge cat. I mean, this thing is the size of like you're what, 6'4", right? The size of your full-grown man, but broader and covered in fur with a big long tail and huge claws. Literally pounces out of the grass and just launches. You just see it mid-air is where it catches your eye. You're looking this way. You look back and it's in the sky, landing on the guy that was guiding you here, and he's on top of him and just immediately starts raking at the guy. So he's like trying to defend himself and whatnot against the cat.
Okay, that's gonna be
roll initiative.
Yep. Figured as much. Do I click a token or do I just click initiative?
No, I just click initiative. We're not using a token at the moment.
Oh no, that's not good. It's not terrible, but it's not good.
Let me roll mine. Shh, baby's sleeping.
Okay.
All right, so actually, luckily for you, they both go before you. As a matter of fact, the guy on the ground gets to go first. So he actually acts before even the cat does. Oh, you dropped my laptop.
Nope.
Just like from leaning against my to flop down. All right, just that cone gets in the way of everything. I can't wait. Finally, tomorrow night, when my wife gets home from work, I'm taking it off. I'm done.
Yeah.
All right, so that makes 3 weeks on the nose. So he has to go first, and so this thing is on top of him and tried to bite at him as it was flying through the air. But because of the fact that he's used to living in this region, he has these certain types of bracers that he wears on his arms that literally he like threw up instinctively, and the cat creature actually bit into that, and it actually bit onto it. And he's like, you fuck! And it falls backwards, falls down with the thing. So as he falls down with it, it's almost like he's practiced with these kind of things before, like he's maybe come across them before. As the thing bites him and lands down with him, it immediately starts to try to rake at him with its back claws, with its back legs. And as it does so, you can see the way he kind of like pulls his legs in and twists his body out of the side, that the one of the legs is completely out of reach, not able to get him. Unfortunately, the other one does kind of dig in and starts ripping at his body, and you can see like the clothing immediately tears open, flesh tears open, and blood starts to very much present itself. That was his turn. Like as the thing attacked it, kind of like prepared it for it. More or less, he didn't get surprised on Uncanny Dodge, right?
Yeah.
But it's actually his turn at this point, and immediately what his response is he actually, while he's trying to like pin down there, he tries to pull out from inside of his pack this little like it almost looks like a flask or something that's in there, and he's trying to like hold this thing at bay while it's ripping and tearing at one of his legs. Tries to pull out this flask and pop the cork open with his teeth, and he's ripping and trying to pop it open, but unfortunately he's just isn't able to fully get control while the thing's on top of him. These are very strong creatures, and he kind of like drops it next to him. He's like, shit! And he's like reaching with his hand trying to grab at it, but is unsuccessful, at least at this point. The leopard tries to reapproach, not leopard, sorry, the great cat. It's actually more of a no, plains. Plains are leopards. Am I wrong?
Yeah, they can be.
Forest and plains, right? No, mountain lion. That's what it is. It's a mountain lion.
Oh yeah,
yeah. My apologies. So so the mountain lion immediately tries to like change its approach slightly. So it doesn't let go of its bite. It actually continues to sink its teeth there because it knows that it's kind of like holding him down. It's like holding him down there. And it continues trying to rip and claw with its hind legs. Let me actually click that button. That's going to be 2 at... Okay, cool. I have to do this. Oh, no. Let me just do it this way then, because that's apparently not working. Okay. So what it is that one of his claws, the one that was able to hit before, continues to hit and rake and pull at his body, and there's just flesh is flying, and this guy is clearly getting like severely injured. But again, he just seems to have a bit of practice. That other leg can never quite land a good blow, and the teeth aren't really sinking in, or if they are, it's enough that he just doesn't care about his arm at the moment. You know what I mean? But the sheer pressure, the force of the jaws, you imagine, is starting to bring some pain to his forearm, but fuck it at the moment.
Yeah.
And so he's able to just barely hold himself together at this point. It is now your turn, sir.
Yep. So now that the initial shock has passed of what just happened, he's realized what's going on. He's going to hold up a hand out in front of him. Now he's I'm further. Would I be further back than 5 feet or?
Probably about like 10, 15 feet or so.
Perfect. Perfect. So I'm just going to hold out my hand. The runes come out, form the circle, and frost starts forming into a solid ball, and snowball's going to fly out at. Yeah, it's 2 damage because of the within point blank, within 30 feet.
1 second.
And I have a fortitude DC.
1 second. I need to check one thing for you.
Oh, it was only just a success. Wow.
Oh, you're whopping 1, but it becomes 2 points of damage, as you had just said. So,
yeah.
Just trying to deny dex. So, because when you're grappled, which is technically what's happening to the guy on the ground right now, when you're grappled, you're denied your dexterity bonus to AC. So that actually will help because the mountain lion is grappling as well. So that actually reduces their AC. But on the flip side of that, you're firing into melee, which gives you a penalty to your chance to hit. So you actually take a penalty. But is your +1 factored in there? No, it's not. So you have a 17. You take a penalty, but their AC is also lowered.
I think it's only damage. It's not actually thing. So I think it is 16.
Point blank shot is chance to hit and damage.
Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. That's why we probably went through this, which is why it only says +1, not +1 to damage. Cool.
Exactly, and you're fine. You're perfectly fine. So and so you actually blast him and deal your 2 points of cold damage to the creature, which get its attention somewhat. Get it to look away and towards you. Do anything else with your turn, or nothing?
Well, since I don't know if it succeeded, but I know that staggering is a thing. I'm going to step back a little bit, not far. But just jump back and get ready.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, that's
If it fails the fortitude saving throw, it is.
I forgot about the fortitude saving throw. Oh,
yeah, it's staggered.
Oh, cool.
Which means it can either attack or move, not both.
Yeah. That's an awesome one. I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me. And the DC for it is 14. I got a 13. So it can attack or move. It cannot do both. Yeah. That's amazing. So you blast this thing with like a shard of ice that kind of like pierces into it slightly and like spreads frost along its side. Completely catch the creature unawares. So the creature steps back off of him slightly, kind of confused, and looks up at you and gives you like a mountain lion roar like over in your direction. Ooh. And you can see that you've gotten this thing's attention, and it is not happy with you. And it actually starts to prepare, like it's getting ready to run at you, sort of a thing. But it's actually his on the ground's turn first, and because you distracted it just ever so slightly, he's reaching and grabbing at whatever that vial is, and he starts pulling it with his teeth, and he pops it open, and he throws it down his gullet. And you are genuinely surprised at what you see happen next. He gets big. He doubles in size, becoming this much larger person. So this mountain lion that's literally the size of him, if not larger than him, definitely the size of you, right? That was on top of him beforehand, now becomes like an annoying dog at his side. So all of a sudden, because he's like this massive person now, he like rolls over and starts to stand up. And as he stands up and he starts to draw his legs and his side and his ass are all fucking ripped open, and the clothing around there is torn open, and he just has blood free pouring down his side. He looks angry as he starts to pull out his sword from his side, and he raises it up and starts trying to swing down at the creature. Now he already drank the potion, so I can't really do that. But he starts swinging down at the creature, and the cat like looks up at him like scared for a second. Like hops to the side, back and forth a little bit, as it's like reacting and trying to dodge from these attacks. That actually brings it to the cat's turn. The cat, who unfortunately can't really do anything because he's staggered at the moment, chooses to then actually retreat a little bit out of his path. Retreating provokes an attack of opportunity from him, so he actually does get to attack the creature.
Yeah. Go crazy old, apparently now giant man. Do it.
So unfortunately, he's big, but not used to like his big size. You can see he seems like unwieldy with it. It's just like limbs kind of like flop about, and he's not used to his mass and strength and whatnot. And so he's not able to get the cat. And besides, we all know what it's like trying to catch a cat. You know, like
Oh yeah.
mountain lions are nimble for their size, and he's lost nimbilityousness. So moving on. That was his turn. Bringing it back to sorry, that was the cat's turn. Bringing it back to your turn.
Okay. So it's moving away from me now.
Yep. Moving back
I'm
away.
gonna make sure I move back to. I think I only have. Oh no, I think I actually do have. No, I have 25 feet on this. So I'm gonna move up to 25 feet range. From it, I'm gonna fire another snowball at it. Raise the hand, form the ball, and launch. Oh no, that's a miss.
Another
It's seven
another
again.
7. Jeez.
I told you I'm unlucky, man.
Apparently, but that 5 unfortunately is a miss. So because what happened is as it's backing away into the underbrush, into like the tall grass. So you see it in a moment and you hurl a ball at it, but you didn't realize is that it actually had brushed its tail against a spot right next to it, and so the thing just kind of grazed the tail and went flying into the ground behind it, revealing itself again to you for a second before moving through the grass quick enough that you can track it, not like it's invisible or something.
Yeah.
All right, after your turn, brings it back to that guy's turn, and that guy is going to kind of start rushing forward, and he's like cleaving left and right with this short sword like it's a machete, taking down tall grass after tall grass after tall grass, going at the cat and trying to attack it. Excuse me, and kill it. Nope. Natural 19! And it's a short sword. There's a chance to critical hit. And he confirms with a total of a 20.
Holy shit.
Natural 19 plus bonus and a total of a 20. He actually confirms a critical hit against this thing. That's freaking awesome. Damn.
I love this dude. I mean, he's annoying as fuck, but damn, is he useful.
Yeah, apparently. And because of his enhanced strength, he actually has a +2, so it's plus 4. So he has to roll 2d6 plus. He has 10 points of damage against the thing.
That's a lot of damage.
For a short
That's
sword?
a lot of damage.
Yeah, for sure. That's pretty solid. So he has 10 points of damage to the fact that you already did 2. This thing is now like injured and is starting to like, obviously it's starting to like move away and tries to hide and whatnot in the shadows. So he's just swinging at this thing and attacking at it, and the creature decides, I can't get away. He's chasing after me and trying to hit me with this sword. I can't do that while it's there. So the creature decides it's in feral mode. It's going to launch itself at him and do a full attack. So it comes at him and bites at a leg and starts clawing with its claws and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Give me one moment. And its modifier is, and his AC goes down because he's bigger by 2. 1 for being large sized and 1 for reduced dexterity.
Oh dear. He's gonna have a bad time right now.
So his AC, 2 of the attacks hit. So the bite, it tries to come in and bite him, but he actually pulls his leg back and tries to kick the thing, missing with his foot, but clipping it in the side of the head with his shin by accident, and kind of like stumbles a bit because of his, again, unwieldy size. But then the thing just jumps up with its front claws and like holds on to him, sinking them in, and starts just like ripping and tearing with its back claws again against him. And it hurts.
Oh dear. He's still up though, right?
Unfortunately, it starts ripping and tearing into the spots where it was already in before, and it just ends up like rips too much and just like collapses down to that knee, and then it's kind of starts to fall backwards. And things is able to continue mounting on top of him, and quickly goes over and sinks its teeth into its like chest up over near its neck, and starts ripping away a huge chunk of flesh with a spray of blood behind it. And you can see it like as he's starting to slow down and move less or whatever. Its eyes like look in your direction with like ferocity and fear and whatnot, as it has a huge chunk of his flesh in its mouth.
How injured does the thing look?
God, this thing is like it's in survival mode.
Yeah. Okay. Then I'm gonna risk it for the biscuit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go for another snowball. Yes, 4 damage.
You actually hit it. That's amazing. Oh my God, it's not in melee anymore. You get the 17. You actually hit it. 4 points of damage, which is incredible. You do still. How many snowballs do you have? 4?
That's the like I have 4 spells.
Yeah.
I want to save one for shield, so
Yeah.
that's going to be.
Oh, that's good. That's good stuff. Remember, shield doesn't work like 5e. It's not an immediate action. It's a turn.
I know, I
Okay,
know.
okay.
But like I want to stagger it first.
Gotcha. No, I get what you're saying. Let me make my saving throw. It's actually a pretty good fortitude save, but what was it? That's what it is.
Has to beat 14.
Yep. I have a greater than 50% chance of succeeding, and unfortunately, I actually do succeed. So it actually is not staggered this time around. Sorry, sir. So
Yep, that was the risk it for the biscuit. Oh dear.
so you did another 4 points of damage to the fact that you did 2 last time. Jesus. So that is your turn. Anything else you can do your turn? Or are you done? As a reminder, if you were talking risk it for a biscuit, you do have this ability.
Yeah. Oh, I do. I'm not going to use that now because I have a feeling I'm going to take a lot of damage. I'm going to back up as far as I can in hopes that I'm far enough away that it has to use dash to get to me
so
or
you
something.
blast first and move backwards afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like almost like a blast, and then realize that it's hit, and then looks back at me. I'm like, nope. Back away.
Okay. So, unfortunately for you,
it's real fast.
not only is it fast, these creatures have something called Pounce, which would allow it to charge attack with all of its attacks at the same time.
Fuck.
And you moved up. You're about 25 feet from it before, and you moved again,
Yep.
which is about another 25, so 50 feet away. Its base speed is 30, so it could run up to 60 feet and get its full suite of attacks against you. If it wasn't in survival mode. It looks at you, growls as you're backing up in the grass, holding your hand before you with that rune of circles in front of you, and like a little bit of like ice, maybe even some snow or whatever it is falling off of it. As you're like preparing, like trying to decide how it is you're going to continue this fight against this creature, and it's like looking at you, and it lets out another like roar in your direction, and then starts doing like a bit of like a cat growl, and it like does a small turn, but like looking at you from its side eye. And then it steps off of the body on the opposite side, and you can see it slinking into the grass. Roll for me a knowledge nature check, sir.
Okay. Hey!
You know that a creature like this, with a kill this size, it's only going to be the size for a minute. Creature like this, with a kill this size, it's not going to let it go. It's going to defend its kill. It wants its kill. But it has its kill, and it has no need to put itself into any more danger than it already is. And it's pretty injured. It's balls in your court, more or less.
Okay.
It did step away and then make a stealth check, so you would have to see it if you're trying to do anything.
Yeah, well, what I'm going to do first... Good, shield. Boom.
Describe how that one works.
Okay, so what you see is he looks around, realizes it's gone. He knows it's not going to give this up. He knows that's not how this is going to work. And so he raises his left hand this time. All of his stuff has come from his right at this point. Raises his left hand. The runes form that circle, and then they expand. And another circle appears, and they expand. And they're all sort of twisting slowly in different directions. And he's got this big shield of runes that he's holding out in front of him, ready for what happens next.
Okay. And what do you do with your move?
I would move a little bit closer to the body, not close enough that I think it would be like, no, now's the time to immediately attack. But I just want to be a little bit closer so I can react if it goes back to the body.
So you were 50 feet away. You probably move up, say 15 or so?
Yeah,
so you're
within range that I could move to it easily.
Yep.
But also, if I need to, leg it.
Exactly. So you're 35 feet from the body because 30.
Freeze.
What?
Yeah, there was a freeze. I was moving close enough that
you're good. I heard everything. So you move like 15 feet up, so it gives you 35 feet from the body. So moving your full move next turn 30 feet would put you adjacent to it, sort of a thing.
Yes, exactly.
Nope, I gotcha. So and you do that. So that's your turn. Its turn comes and goes. You made your nature check beforehand. You know it's protecting its kill, but it's not moving up any further. It's just standing there.
I am going to try... no, I can't because I'm holding the... There's concentration in this, right? Yes, concentration.
Not exactly. That word concentration, don't worry about that. That's if you take damage or anything like that. You can actually have many concentration spells up at the same time. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so
Like you can in this game, you can cast like blur, mage armor. Like you cast like 100 buff spells and keep on casting. So
cool. I am. You know what? At this point, I am actually going to use sacrificial boon. I'm gonna sacrifice a hit point, and you'll see like he'll like raise his hand, and almost it looks like a bit of the skin sort of covers over with the runes, and then just sort of pulls off. It's not enough to like cause blood to draw, but you can tell that it was painful. And then it sort of dissipates in energy that's around the hand now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to make a... Oh, I didn't mean to click that again. I meant to close it.
You're fine. You're fine. And then you make a perception check.
Yes.
And you see it.
Okay.
5 feet from the body, crouched into the grass, laying low, watching you, looking for it, and eventually both of you, your eyes lock.
At that point, I'm going to use Ray of Frost.
Yeah.
I'm going to move up and Ray of Frost. I'd have to
say,
move
what's
up.
the range? Yeah.
I don't think I have to. I think I only have to move up 5. I think Ray of Frost is 30. Let me.
It's probably 25 plus 5 for 2 levels. So probably.
No, it's 25. That's
so
right.
You move
so
up
I
10
would
feet.
Move up
Yep.
10 feet. Yeah. And then I Ray of Frosted. Oh,
a 14. A 14. You got it. You got it. Oh my god. You actually hit it. Oh, and you want to hear the best part? You're within 30 feet, right?
Yep.
So it's 4 damage. Are you ready for this? He did 10 before. You did 2. And 4 is 6. That's 16. You just did another 4. Equals 20 total. They have 19 health points.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Just wham.
So all of a sudden you step up with your Ray of Frost and you just hit the thing straight square in the face, and it starts to like you frost up its face and tries to like bat at it with its paw or whatever. But then even though as it's bat at its paw, it actually ends up knocking a chunk of like frosted bit out, and you just like follow up as that paw like that chunk falls off. You follow up with like a second ray immediately right afterwards. Yeah. That just kind of like penetrates through and puts enough frost into the brain that the thing just like stops.
He would honestly probably throw a couple more Ray of Frosts into it just to make sure, because he's like, holy fuck no.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yep.
And then he'd look at the guy.
One of the things you know, my apologies, from your nature check before, was that these creatures always travel either solitary or in pairs. And if they were in pairs, it likely would have already attacked by now.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. Then after excessively Ray of Frosting the body, just to make sure it can't possibly get back up, because this is the first time he's had proper combat, so he's just needs to stay down. He's going to turn to the body. I assume he's very much dead. Can I do a medicine check or something to see if there's any way to save him?
Roll it. Heal.
Ooh. But he also could just be very dead.
You actually realize that he is very much at the brink of life, like in death. You know that this is something that, had you magical means of healing, you actually probably could. You're almost positive you could save him. Mundane means of healing, you don't keep those supplies on you. Not beyond basic bandages.
Real fast. I want to try and find. He had a potion that made him big. He might have a potion of healing.
Okay, you do a perception check to investigate.
Oh no, he dead.
Searching through his body, unfortunately, it comes up with nothing. And after like just frustratedly get nothing, pulling up nothing, and starting to reach for your pack and pulling out the few supplies you do have, and immediately trying to apply pressure, you just kind of like, you do so for like maybe a second or two, and then you get this feeling, and so you check one more time and realize it's too late.
Damn it. It's going to take a moment. Sorry, old man. and he's going to start taking supplies from him because it's no point. He can't. There's no way he's digging a grave for someone this big at the moment.
Of course.
Does he shrink down eventually?
Oh yeah. After it's at 1 minute,
Okay.
it lasts 1 minute. And then,
Okay. Then once he shrinks down, he would actually attempt to. He probably wouldn't do it very well because he's not strong. But he'd put some dirt on him as well, like dig a little tiny and then just dirt.
Yep.
He'd also he would take his money back, honestly.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing like bad about doing that sort of a thing. So you dig a small grave for him. Spend the time it takes to do that, and kind of kick him into it in a respectful way.
Yeah.
And then throw it over his body. And then you that's unfortunately where it stops there for the poor guy. And you take from him that and some other supplies. You actually do find another potion on him.
Oh, do I recognize what it is, or it's just
Spellcraft check, sir.
Oh yes, I forgot I have that. Spellcraft. Oh yeah.
The irony is almost palpable. It's Cat's Grace.
Oh no. Oh, Cat's Grace. Oh wow.
Do you know what Cat's Grace does?
I assume it's a dexterity thing.
+4 enhancement bonus to dexterity for its minimum cast level is 3. So whatever that is, 3 minutes or 30 minutes or 3 hours. So I'll Google it.
Okay, I've added that to my inventory.
Cat's Grace is a second level spell, of course, like I just said. For 3 minutes, you have a +4 to your dexterity.
Sweet. Well, having done that, I'm going to stand up, take a look around. What time of day is it now?
After all the burying and all that stuff, it's now just past noon. Or it's just before noon, I should say. Because you didn't spend a lot of time.
Well, now that the unfortunate passing of the friend here, there's no point in keeping up the facade of what I'm here for. I'm going to have a look around. Do I see, does anything stand out as looking like what I remember from the dream? The hill, for example, or things like that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There is something that stands out. A person. Off in the distance.
Oh, fuck.
You see them standing there and looking in your direction. And you can see that they are looking at the fact that you more or less just stood up from having finished burying the body. And are kind of like looking about, and you see them. And they see you. And that is where we're going to stop the session.
Oh, I like it. Oh, I like it.
Alrighty. What's up, Tesh? How you doing?
Good. I mean, I didn't get hit, sir.
Oh, you did? That's right. You actually took no damage.
I didn't take a hit. I didn't use all my spells there, sir. Let's hope this new friend is friendly.
Yeah, right? Seriously. Out of first level spells, man.
I do have my cantrips though, and honestly, with my luck, my cantrips actually did the same damage, sir. Oh, I technically did take 1 damage from
You're burning your blood or whatever.
burning, yeah, the sacrificing a hit point.
Yep, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I love that
I actually got a chance to use it.
Because if you didn't do that, if it was the 3 damage instead of the 4, it would have still been awake with 0 health points, which means it's staggered. As long as it just moves away, it would stay alive. But because you did that 1 extra point of damage, -1, that's what drops it unconscious.
It's down. Yeah.
Yeah. It's literally like
That's
it's mathed out exactly that way. So.
Whew. Yeah. So let's hope this new guy's friendly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited. So that was. I'm sorry. That was fun. Like a bit more backstory for you and a bit of a purpose that comes here, and I'm excited because your character didn't get to role play a lot. Of course, nobody's really did, but you actually get to bring a mountain of story with you next session too. So
yeah, I'm so excited. There was enough. I love the sort of. I don't want to say too much for the people at home, but how this character came together of ideas that then just folded perfectly into how we wanted the story to happen. I'm really happy with how this character's turned out.
Yeah, I have to say,
excited.
all three of this, because this is the third one, all three of the sessions that kind of played out. This is they all, like, the dice just happen to fall exactly how you want them to. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. It's just like you wanted that person to succeed there and fail there and just barely make it through there, and it's just so nice.
The dice always know. The
Yeah.
dice always.
Yeah, apparently RN Jesus is with you. So
Yeah, that spellcraft one is like, I better succeed. That's the thing I'm real good at.
yeah. Oh, it's nice too, because you're like, oh, cool. It's actually, I'm sorry, but I think for all three party members, that spell is very useful. I mean, for you alone, +4 to dexterity is 2 to AC, 2 to reflex saves, 2 to chance to hit.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's huge.
I like that, especially since I have, even though I have magic, all my stuff at the moment is chance to hit. So.
Of course. Well, anyways, I thank you so much, Tesh, for finding the time to do this with me. And obviously, it was pre-recorded for everybody that's at home watching this. But you know, we were excited to get it together and do the episode 0 so we can air it, and get us prepared for next week when the campaign starts on April 3rd. We finally get to get everybody together and start up the campaign, and one day start building a kingdom. Eventually, we call it, you know, Kingmaker or whatever, just to tease you. It's not that.
Yeah,
that's not happening. All right, cool. Well, thank you all so much for coming by and hanging out. You've already heard me say stuff in the past 2 videos of how it is that you can kind of impact the world and whatnot, so you get the point. Other than that, we'll see you guys next week when we actually go live with an actual live show of the first session, everybody together. I'm excited to play that out with you. Otherwise, you know, check us out in all the fun places that you'll find us, and see you later. Bye.
Bye.